Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Your Money, Your Power. So, if you do business or you ever plan to do business, make sure you watch this video till the end. Now, there's a concept that every entrepreneur must know to be able to be successful in business, and this concept is traction and margin. Now, your traction is how well your business is growing and attracting customers and gaining momentum. The margin, on the other hand, is how much profit your business keeps after covering cost. Now, when you understand traction and margin, you understand where your business falls. Either it's a poor man's business, a middle class business, a rich man's business, or a wealthy man's business. I invite you to stay to the end so you'll be able to identify where your business falls and know what to do to take your business to the next level. Now, the first kind of business under traction and margin is a poor man's business. A poor man's business is a business that has low margin and has low traction, meaning you have very few clients and whatever you're selling, you're making very little profit. Now, I also do one-on-one counseling, and I had to counsel someone who told me she wanted to do mobile money. So then I had to go out there to find out information about mobile money. And the mobile money agent I met told me that actually they make very little money from mobile money. So you're making about 1,200 or so on every 1 million transaction that you make. And I was like, I think that's very small. She said, yes. And I asked her, why are you doing this kind of business? The margin is so low. And she told me, well, the margin is low, but when you have a lot of clients, it balances up. So she told me that she has a very huge capital and she's very well located. So her margin and her traction, so her margin is low, but the traction, which is the number of clients that she has, covers up. So that's the first one, is a poor man's business. A business that has very few customers and has low profit. The second kind of business is a middle class business. A middle class business is a business that has high margin and low traction. High margin because you make a good profit, but you have very few customers. For example, you are a contractor, so you do contracts for the government, for example, and you have a contract and you had, let's say, 5 million francs profit. Or maybe you sell land and then you sold land and you had 5 million francs profit, but now you had just one contract the whole year, or you sold just one piece of land in the whole 2025. The margin was high because, yes, 5 million is a lot of money, but the traction is low because you had just one sale the whole year. And a middle class business is okay when it's a side hustle. So you're doing other things and then maybe you're selling lands on the side or you're doing contracts on the side. Then you can balance up. But if you're just doing the contracts or selling the lands and you just have one sale, it's not sustainable and it's not realistic. And then you're going to fall in a middle class business. The next one is a rich man's business. A rich man's business is a business that has low margin but high traction. If you've been listening from the beginning and if you were listening carefully, you discover that a rich man's business and a poor man's business, the only difference is at the level of the number of customers. So I'm sure you know some of these very big supermarkets who sell wholesale. Now, when they sell wholesale, the margin is low because the profit is not that much. But what keeps them rich is the number of clients, because they sell cartons and cartons of their products daily. So that makes up for the low margin. And the final one is a wealthy man's business. A wealthy man's business is a business that has high traction and high margin. Sometime this year there was an issue online. I don't know what Americans did to Chinese people, and the Chinese people were now revealing the cost prices of designer products. I don't know if you saw it online. So it was like, okay, some of those high-end brands that we buy or that people buy, they produce something in China, $200, and then they sell it in America, $2,000. That's a wealthy man's business. So you produce $200 and you sell and you make $1,800 in profit. That's a wealthy man's business, because of course, designers, they don't even need to do too much publicity because people love their stuff already. There's that spirit of ostentation. So they have a lot of clients and then their margin is very high because production is low. Now, I want you to ask you this question. The business you've been doing, where does it fall? Is it a poor man's business, a middle class business, a rich man's business, or a wealthy man's business? Now, if you're doing a poor man's business, the only way to survive in that business is by increasing your traction. So you're selling something that has very little gain. What you can do is to increase distribution of that product. That's the only way to survive in that business. And if you cannot increase your distribution, then it's better for you to just stop doing the business altogether, because you're doing business to make a living. You're doing business to change your life. You're doing business to be able to relax. I was talking with someone and she told me that she's unable to hire a staff in her business. I'm like, why? She said, I'm not able to. And I discovered the problem was that she was selling whatever she was selling too low. Her profit was too low. You cannot have a business that does not permit you to hire a staff. You cannot be running a business that does not permit you to go on vacation, to live a good life. So find a way to convert your poor man's business to a rich man's business by increasing the number of customers. Many people do business that are not on social media. They're not doing anything. One of the golden rules of success is sell as if your life depends on it. Sell unashamedly. Guys, just sell. Make sure that you're selling. Make sure you're talking about your product every day. Find a way to increase your distribution, because many times you don't have control. Let's say you're selling biscuits, and that biscuit is selling 25 francs. You don't have control over the price of the biscuit. It has only been put there by the Ministry of Commerce or the company that produced the biscuit. So you don't have control over the selling price, but you have control over your traction. Find a way to increase distribution of that product, and you will survive in the business. Remember that the same 8 hours that you're putting in your business is the same 8 hours that other people are putting in their businesses and making millions. I hope that this video is going to be of help. Remember, check your traction and your margin. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, because I have a lot of great stuff coming up for you. Thank you.